Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Sininfo. आज another Sunday, another session, another exciting afternoon. Very excited. आप लोगों ने सबने join किया है for Maahir Zaveri's session for editing as well as for filmmaking. We have got a lot of registrations, so we are going to wait. हम लोग जैसे हमेशा करते हैं, थोड़ी देर wait कर लेते हैं हमारे friends के लिए, हमारे members के लिए. Members who are actually putting a Sunday, like अपना Sunday इसके ऊपर invest कर रहे हैं इस session के ऊपर. So let's wait a little bit. As always, I will introduce Sininfo and then I will introduce Maahir. We have an exciting announcement as well today. So I hope that is exciting for all of you. But before I come up to the exciting announcement, I'm just going to wait for just like one more minute, like 12:02. जब तक मैं वेट कर रही हूँ तब तक मैं आप लोगों को सबको बताऊं कि exactly what is Sininfo. Well, 80-90% of you who are joining today, जिन्होंने आज ज्वाइन किया है, आपको Sininfo के बारे में शायद मालूम हो. But we will still have few new people जिनको शायद Sininfo के बारे में ना पता हो. So while we are waiting for others to join, just to tell you a little bit about Sininfo. Sininfo एक ऐसा माध्यम है, एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है. It's actually a platform जो on the lines of networking, training, opportunities पे based है. हम ये कैसे कर रहे हैं? How do we do this? There are many other platforms जो आज की डेट पे आपको शायद पता हो. Like for example, most common आपकी networking होगी WhatsApp groups. उसके साथ आपकी कुछ networking होंगे, for example, going to festivals. So if you're going to festivals, if you're on WhatsApp groups, अगर आप किसी college में हैं, तो उस college का जो group है, that alumni will be your networking group. So these are the kind of networking groups that are there, and there are many more. छोटे मोटे आपके या कुछ elaborate भी होंगे. एक बहुत popular networking group, internship, opportunities, job platform, LinkedIn है. But for entertainment industry, शायद LinkedIn उतना popular नहीं है, उतना relevant नहीं है. So हमने ये ऐसा एक प्लेटफॉर्म, टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म जैसे कहते हैं, वैसा बनाया है जो आपको ये in order to be able to connect, जैसे आपका एक प्रोफाइल है, आप एक्टर है, राइटर है, डायरेक्टर है, प्रोड्यूसर है, या बनना चाहते हैं. हाउ डू यू मीट अदर पीपल जो ये कर रहे हैं? हाउ डू यू आइडेंटिफाई कि मैं किसको फॉलो करूँ, कौन से इंस्टीट्यूट जाऊँ, कहाँ पर वर्कशॉप लूँ? So you could be at a very and it does not have anything to do with age. आप किसी भी age group में हैं, but if you want to enter the industry, what is the guidance I can get? So at the very basic level, Sininfo will help you with that. चाहे आप जैसे आज का एक एक्सपर्ट सेशन है, उसको ज्वाइन करें. यहाँ पर आपके क्वेश्चंस आंसर हो सकते हैं अगर आप एडिटर बनना चाहते हैं, या आप एडिटर बन चुके हैं, या मतलब थोड़ा बहुत प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं, आप अपने करियर में आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं. तो हाउ डू यू डू दैट? हाउ डू यू मीट अदर पीपल? मुझे नौकरी कैसे मिल सकता है, मुझे काम कैसे मिल सकता है? अगर मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है कि मेरे प्रोजेक्ट्स रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं, तो क्यों हो रहे हैं, मैं अपने इस पर्टिकुलर लेवल से दूसरे लेवल तक कैसे बढ़ सकता हूँ? सो मेनी इंडस्ट्रीज प्रोवाइड यू ट्रेनिंग, इंटर्नशिप, रीस्किलिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज. सेम थिंग्स इन इन्फो एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री में जितने भी प्रोफाइल्स हैं उनके साथ, जितने भी प्रोफेशंस हैं उनके लिए ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमने बनाया है. द बेस्ट थिंग विच यू कैन डू इज क्रिएट योर प्रोफाइल ऑन sininfo.in. आपको मैं लिंक और सब कुछ बता दूंगी एज पार्ट ऑफ द चैट. इफ यू क्रिएट योर प्रोफाइल, काफी लोग आपके प्रोफाइल को देखेंगे, आप दूसरों के प्रोफाइल देख के दूसरों से कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं. जैसे आप इंस्टाग्राम लोगों को फॉलो करते हैं, लोग आपको फॉलो करते हैं, टू क्रिएट अ नेटवर्क ऑफ लाइक माइंडेड पीपल, आप ये कर सकते हैं. Along with that, we have expert sessions which are free every Sunday. We conduct, like Maahir ji has been very kind to pull out time from a very busy schedule. And all the experts who have joined us till date have been very, very, patient, have been very encompassing, have been, very nice to give their time. And they have, whether you believe it or not, घर, ऑफिस हम लोग करते हैं, but industry में one thing is that it's a very unpredictable time schedule. उसमें से time निकाल के कुछ भी करना is difficult. So ये जो effort initiative हमारे experts लेते हैं, it's commendable. So every Sunday to bring them, then to be able to bring you courses जो हमने अभी मार्च में शुरू किया है, हम expert led courses शुरू कर रहे हैं. These are certificate courses जो आप join कर सकते हैं. There is a fees that has to be paid for it. It is a very immersive course, मतलब 4 दिन, 5 दिन, 6 दिन, depending on the course. आपको online one-on-one live ट्रेनिंग मिलेगी, मेंटरिंग मिलेगी, गाइडेंस मिलेगा, एक करिकुलम है उसको फॉलो किया जाएगा. सो वी हैव स्टार्टेड दैट इन मार्च एंड सिलेक्ट फ्यू एक्सपर्ट्स आर द वंस जिनके साथ हम पार्टनर करके ये कर रहे हैं, जो हमारे लिए टाइम निकाल रहे हैं, एंड वी विल बी टॉकिंग मोर अबाउट दैट एज वेल. So this is what we are trying to do. Now we have almost about 39-40 people who have joined. I will keep taking. आप लोग अगर drop out हो जाते हैं Zoom से, please don't worry, panic मत करिए. Waiting room जैसे ही आप click करेंगे, हम आपको entry लेते रहेंगे till the end of the session. So अगर आप drop out हो जाते हैं, please don't worry, we will take you back in. I would like to now tell you, as you can see, Maahir Zaveri ji is pinned on the screen. He's already there with us, and I can start the session now. But before I start the session, I would request all of you. आज का screen share है, हम लोग एक presentation है उसको share करेंगे. Kindly whiteboard, annotations कुछ मत छेड़िए. Although हमने उसको disable कर दिया है, but please don't do that. It disturbs the session. It disturbs other people जिन्होंने join किया है. So it will be nice if you just let the session continue. Q&A के time पे आप सबको आपके questions पूछने को मिलेंगे. You can ask Maahir ji live on your questions, whether you are writer, editor, actor, director. All of you are welcome to ask your questions. And इसके अलावा I would request that if you have any question, please put it as part of the chat. जिनके questions chat पे नहीं हैं, वो हम unfortunately नहीं ले पाएंगे for the simple reason क्या शायद हम वो answer कर चुके हैं. So it may just be a repeat. So these are the few things. Please don't touch any of your panels in terms of sharing screen, recording screen. आपको captions on करना है, captions on कर लीजिए. हिंदी, इंग्लिश जो भी आपको caption चाहिए, आप caption on कर लीजिए. But don't touch the panel. Let the session continue. It is for everybody's benefit. And please put your question. आपका question chat पे जरूर लिखिए. हिंदी में लिखिए, इंग्लिश में लिखिए. It's fine. We will take it up. Now I would like to ask Maahir ji to unmute and join our session before I start introducing. Hi Maahir.
Hi.
Sininfo.
Hi, thank you very much. Please don't call me Maahir ji, Dina ji. So
yes, of course, I will call you Maahir. There's a lot of people जो industry में आपको Maahir ji कहते हैं, इसलिए we also got into the habit of calling you Maahir ji, which is absolutely fine for us because it comes from a great amount of respect for where you have reached at such a short span of time. Children and dogs are allowed as part of this session.
Yeah, because my dog is kind of losing his mind right now. I thought he'd be quiet and sit, but he's okay. But I hope he won't disturb us.
As I said, children and dogs are allowed as part of the session. So, welcome once again, Maahir. Wonderful to have you as part of our session today. We have been looking for unique members in the industry, जो एक unique space में काम कर रहे हैं, who are actually working on interesting projects. But before I start discussing your projects, your work, थोड़ा सा आपके बारे में. You are a self-taught editor. ये कैसे हुआ? If you can tell us about yourself, yes.
So I think for me, honestly, it would have begun like right from childhood because I've grown up in a house that was a very, very film-friendly, film fanatic sort of a house. I've grown up in Gaiety Galaxy in Bombay. I have grown up watching Shah Rukh Khan films. So I knew that I wanted to do something in the industry. I wasn't sure what it was. And then in my 12th standard, when I was giving my boards, I got chicken pox right after my second paper. So I had to drop out and miss a year. And that was the year that my brother was starting his film, Jaane Kahan Se Aayi Hai. This was a film that he made in 2008-9 with Ritesh Deshmukh. And he asked me to assist on that. And when I started assisting is when I realized that okay, maybe I want to be a storyteller, maybe I want to be a filmmaker. Um, I wasn't sure of, also I was 17, 18 years old. So at that age, your mind was also, all over the place, being like, oh, maybe I can try this, maybe I can try that. So I assisted Milap, and then I assisted Nikhil sir on 2 to 3 projects. And along the ways, when I realized that editing is something that I was always really fascinated with. The fact that you can take video and then the simplest thing of just removing the audio and then putting another audio onto it can give it a completely goose one second give it a completely different meaning. So that is for me how it began. I honestly just started playing around with the software. YouTube had just about come, I think, in 2003, 2004, when I started experimenting. And whatever I learned is from YouTube, is from Google, is by asking questions. I, in fact, didn't even know how to use the source monitor. I mean, if there are editors here, they'll know that there's a source monitor and a timeline monitor. I didn't know what the source monitor did. So I used to drag all my clips individually and be like, okay, and ye section acha hai, to abhi baki ka delete kar lenge. So that's how it honestly started. I think the props of where I am today and for giving me the push to get where I am goes to Nikhil sir, Nikhil Advani. He, I don't know what it is that he saw in me, but he was like, this boy understands what editing is, what rhythm is, how to tell a story, how to get your point across. So he was the one who gave me the most badhawa to kind of follow my passion. On Patiala House, he put me in charge of doing the making behind the scenes to shoot and to edit this, and this was all on tape, so this was not digital. So that was my first proper brush with editing. It's something that I realized that I really, really enjoyed. I never thought of it as work. It was another way of expressing creativity. And in 2014, I think this was after so I was the first assistant director on D-Day. That was the last project that I did as an assistant. And after that, Kashvi Nair, who's a very close friend of mine, and we both grown up in MA Entertainment, she was making a short film. So that short film, Kashvi and me wrote together. And I think it was a day before shoot when I asked her that, who's editing your film? And she said that we've not locked somebody yet. So I said, can I try? Like, I don't know long format. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. And honestly, I think that has been my mantra throughout my life, is that पता नहीं कैसे करना है लेकिन कर लेंगे भगवान भरोसे, and just take the leap and then you'll figure it out along the way. And that's where it started from. That gave me the confidence to ask Nikhil sir to let me edit Kati Batti, and then it's just been ongoing since then.
Superb. So it stems from a belief कि कोशिश करके देखते हैं, try करके देखते हैं.
हाँ.
This is amazing. So now while we have started talking about you and you've introduced yourself nicely, I want to tell everyone a little bit about Maahir Zaveri. तो आप लोगों को शायद मालूम है ये film editor है, but let me tell you a little bit about Maahir Zaveri. He's a seasoned film editor with a career spanning the Hindi film industry since 2015. उनका पोर्टफोलियो काफी एक्सटेंसिव है, जिसमें नोटेबल फिल्म्स है जैसे बाटला हाउस, सत्यमेव जयते, बोथ स्टारिंग जॉन अब्राहम, मरजावा फीचरिंग सिद्धार्थ मल्होत्रा एंड रितेश देशमुख, एंड बाजार एंड विद सैफ अली खान इन द लीडिंग रोल अमंग अदर प्रोमिनेंट वर्क. माहिर ने अपनी एडिटिंग एक्सपर्टीज मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ वेब सीरीज में भी दे रखी हैं, जैसे मुंबई डायरी सीजन 1 and 2, रॉकेट बॉयज सीजन 1 and 2, एंड अधूरा, which are on major streaming channels like Amazon Prime and Sony Live. So आज का जो सेशन है माहिर जी के साथ, it is on the fundamental methods for crafting compelling narratives. Now I have this interesting question, crafting compelling narratives. Now before we step into this, मैं चाहती हूँ कि ऑडियंस में जितने भी लोग हैं जिन्होंने ज्वाइन किया, we almost have 50 people in the audience, आप सब अपने चैट पे अपना प्रोफेशन डालें, because it's a very interesting space. I want to give the composition to Maahir ki किस-किसने join किया, कौन से profession से लोगों ने join किया. So we have assistant editor, actor, assistant director, cinematographer. I'm not mentioning your names, don't mind. Writer, screenwriter, aspiring film editor, aspiring editor, writer, non-fiction film writer, university student, um, editor, colorist, working in an ad agency, writer, actor, editor, aspiring cinematographer, actor, school student, aspiring film editor, writer, visual promotions editor as an intern. Wow. Aspiring film editor, aspiring editor who is in university as a student. So this is the composition. You have a lot of people.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes, and this is what I like about this community. This is what I like about members out there. This is what I like about people who join the session. They don't do it because they feel that an editor is going to talk about editing. They know that they're going to talk about building for a narrative, a compelling story, filmmaking, something which is a much diverse piece. Editor and colorist of Pakistan, famous web series Sia series. Sia series. Saif Ali, who has joined us also as well. So
Cross border unity क्या ही हो रहा है इस info पे. Very good.
So we are very grateful to all of you to join this session and very grateful to Maahir to give this time. But yes, now continuing. When you say to create a compelling narrative, for आप इसके बारे में यहाँ रिक्वेस्ट आ रहा है थोड़ा सा कि हिंदी में सर प्लीज थोड़ा आई एम रिसीविंग मेनी एक्टर्स वुड रिक्वेस्ट फॉर हिंदी में अगर आप बात करें यस देयर विल बी टिप्स फॉर एक्टर्स 100% वी विल हैव सम टिप्स फॉर एक्टर्स बट just to start with this compelling narrative, इसका मतलब जरा समझाएं.
So if you look at any story, why does a story work or not work? It's because what the content that's being shared with you or whatever is trying to be communicated lands in the most effective way so that you get the point. It could, and then this is a general sort of yardstick that you can use for any sort of genre. It's not genre specific. बचपन में लाइक ऑनेस्टली जब मम्मी कहानियां सुनाती थी सोने से पहले वो क्यों आप इतने इंटरेस्टेड से क्यों आप सुनते थे because there's something that is holding you, something that is hooking you in. So what I meant by crafting compelling narratives is that the director, the DOP, they will go out and they will shoot the video. The sound designer will do the design of the audio video part of it. It is your job as an editor to take the material that you have been provided with and sequence it in a way in which the point that the story or the film or the ad, it could be, it's universal. The point that the story is trying to communicate, your job is to find the most effective route to get there. So if you look at the script, right, the script tells you, and the script is pretty much treated as the Bible, right? This is from where everything germinates. If you look at the script has a kind of a direction laid out. A lot of times in the translation from shooting from script to screen, and even from once it's shot and it comes to the edit, there are things that change. There are new routes that you have to take to tell that same story. So finding that route, finding the best way of communicating that, I think that has been my biggest takeaway in these last 8-9 years that I've been working. At the end, like when you're structuring a scene, you can think of that as creating the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, right? When you structure a scene, but when you sequence an event, then it's using those jigsaw puzzles to make that complete picture. A lot of times a piece which you thought would fit here actually fits on top or fits next to it. Sometimes when you juxtapose two scenes which were not supposed to be there, it gives a whole different meaning to the narrative. So for me, what I lead with first is instinct. Honestly, जब मैं edit भी कर रहा हूँ तब when I'm looking at the rushes or whatever, I keep my finger on spacebar. और जैसे ही वो feeling आती है तो मैं spacebar दबा देता हूँ, वो ही cut होता है. Most of the times वो ही cut होता है. So everything that I do is led by instinct. It's led by feeling. It's a lot of the times I may be breaking a lot of the conventional rules, but I was not aware of what the rules were because everything that I learned was as per circumstance. So how you take what has been given to you to construct a story that holds is, I think, what the job of an editor is.
Interesting. So how much of, just taking a leap from here, how much of it is dependent on technology? जैसे आपने कहा, how would you say that technology would play the knowledge of different kinds of softwares that are there would play a role in this, so to say, creating what you have in mind?
So right now, if you see, there are so many different non-linear editing softwares, right? There's Premiere Pro, there's Final Cut, there's Avid, and there are a bunch of others. But honestly, the software is purely a tool. It's a tool for you to, like an artist uses a paintbrush, a photographer uses a camera. The editing software is purely a tool. Along with the tool, of course, there are different softwares like the integration of After Effects into Premiere. That helps a lot with when we've got to do mock VFX on the offline. The software actually enable you to manipulate whatever you need to suit your story. There are a lot of times when like for example, if we need a night exterior shot, but the sequence has been shot in day. Nowadays, technology allows you to somewhere cheat that day shot into night so that somebody doesn't have to go out and shoot again. So there are different ways in which the software can be used, especially now with stuff like, which we'll talk about later, but like with the rise of AI, with generative fill, stuff like that, with integration of Photoshop into After Effects and Premiere. A lot of these softwares have started working in tandem to be able to help you creatively express whatever you want. So yeah, technology does play a very important role, but it's not the be all and end all of everything. I'm sure there are people out there who know how to use Premiere, which is the software that I use, way better than me. Maybe they know shortcuts and ways of doing things much faster than I do. But at the end of the day, it's just a tool. It's at the end, whatever has to happen has to come from here. So
very interesting. So it's not about like, I come from a very coding and techno. हमेशा speed, how fast can you code it and all. But in the end, we appreciate the person who's able to see the product in itself full. अच्छा, नहीं, वो तो ठीक है, excellent coding, आपने web बना, but is it really doing the job what it needs to?
yeah.
This brings me to another question कि आप अगर मान लीजिए एक फिल्म है, उसका एक टेम्पो है, उसका एक रिदम है, तो what is the importance for an editor to understand the tempo, the rhythm of the film, and how do you understand? वो थोड़ा हिंदी भी सर कोई, I am also trying my best.
जी 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 तो टेम्पो और रिदम जो होता है, आई बिलीव वो एक फिल्म का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज होती है. अगर आप कोई भी गाना उठा लो, आई थिंक एवरीबडी अंदर से दे नो व्हाट रिदम इज. लाइक इफ अगर आप कोई गाना प्ले करोगे तो इफ यू आस्क समवन टू क्लैप अलोंग और टैप देयर फीट, वो कर लेंगे. वो एक तुम्हारे बॉडी का भी एक क्लॉक होता है, राइट? वो रिदम हम सबके अंदर होता है. मैं जब 10 साल का था तो आई स्टार्टेड लर्निंग हाउ टू प्ले द गिटार. माय अंकल इज अ म्यूजिशियन, सो ही encouraged me कि सीखो, इट्स अ गुड स्किल टू हैव लर्न. एंड मेरे लिए आई फील दैट वाज द biggest learning and teaching for me was how to inculcate rhythm inside you. I believe ki whether, like, there was a very interesting line that I read, that rhythm can exist without melody, but melody can't exist without rhythm. So what that says is that when two people are talking also, अगर dialogue का scene है या जो दो लोग बात कर रहे, तीन लोग बात कर रहे, at the end of the day you are putting the shot and the dialogue, right? So it's in your hands to control. Character A says this, then how much of a pause is there before character B replies? Is there a need for a pause? Should character B cut off character A? Will that help the rhythm of the scene? So I believe ki jab aap rhythm, rather when you start paying attention to rhythm, it will change a lot of how you look at footage, how you look at storytelling. And to answer your question, मैं जब भी कोई project जब मैं चालू करता हूँ, script पढ़ने के बाद, the first thing I do is, there are a bunch of these stock music websites that are available. What I do there first is go there and start trying to find the soundscape in which this film lives. Because like I said, merely music has always been a very, very important role. And even today when I edit also, the world in which a film resides or a show resides comes from music. And it comes from the soundscape that I want to build. That many a times sets the tempo or the rhythm of the project. And this is honestly just trial and error. There are a lot of times when कि आपको लगता है कि हाँ मैंने क्रैक कर दिया, यही है साउंडस्केप या यही है दुनिया फिल्म की, और एक महीने बाद जब आप वापस जाके उस फिल्म को देखते हो एंड यूर जस्ट लाइक कि नहीं यार ये तो बिल्कुल काम नहीं कर रहा है. लाइक एट वन ऑफ माय रीसेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स, an experiment that I tried was, like I said, right, I keep my finger hovering over the space bar, and the minute I feel कि हाँ यहाँ पे कट होना चाहिए, तब मैं स्पेस बार दबा देता हूँ. इस बारी मैंने क्या किया कि मैंने स्पेस बार नहीं दबाया, मैं 2 फ्रेम आगे लेके मैंने काटा हर जगह, बीइंग लाइक आई नो इंस्टिंक्टली यहाँ पे कट होना चाहिए, बट अगर मैं 2-3 फ्रेम से उसे इंक्रीज करूँ तो will it will it add to the uncomfortableness that I want the audience to feel. That experiment failed. It did not work at all, but it was a learning for me कि हाँ तुम जो रिदम सोच रहे थे वो शायद इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए करेक्ट नहीं है, maybe it's for something else, but for me music is usually the driving force of creating the soundscape and subsequently the rhythm of a project.
So having understood about rhythm and soundscape, I'd like to now take your attention to something which is like dealing with genres. Like I think everything has a different rhythm. This is I am obviously talking at a very basic level, but I think comedy की rhythm अलग है, drama का अलग है, then of course action का अलग है. So these different genres, how if I were to ask, how do you plan? How do you think? What is there like a formula? Is there like a mantra which is fits for each genre, or every editor has to figure out their own mantra for the genres?
So what I believe in, there is this one line that I had read, and I don't remember who said. Who's 1 second, Mama, 1 second. 1 second. Okay, relax. Sorry about that. But there was a line that I had read by a writer who said that don't approach, and he was talking about writer's block. He said, don't approach the story with the arrogance of a creator. Rather, approach it with the humility of a viewer, because you are being fortunate enough to get a peek into these characters' lives that you're writing about. So अगर तुम ऐसा सोचे कि नहीं नहीं मैंने क्रिएट किया, मैं करूंगा, मैं ही सब कुछ हूँ, तो तुम्हारा नहीं होगा. So in the same way, when it comes to different projects, when it comes to different genres, I honestly let the script and wherever my mind goes take me. Like I said, I'm in my pre-production stage. मैं continuously music सुनते रहता हूँ, whether it is OSTs, whether it is stock music, whether it is a record at home at night. It's just the tuning of my brain for a particular project happens through music. Like if I take an example for Satyamev Jayate, right? When Satyamev Jayate started, I was aware of the kind of film that it was. It was a massive film, but it was about a cop and like a cat and mouse sort of thing. It was supposed to be thrilly. So where does इसका ये फिल्म की का साउंडस्केप क्या है, ये फिल्म में किस टाइप का म्यूजिक मैं एटलीस्ट जब काटते समय सुनना चाहूंगा या यूज करना चाहूंगा. एंड similarly, if you take like a Rocket Boys, which is a complete opposite, which is drama, which is emotion, which is patriotism, उसका क्या है soundscape उसमें उसके what also happens is कि character wise what are they bringing to the story. Like in Rocket Boys, Homi Baba was he was a well-traveled patron of the arts, played the violin, and so the music and the world in which we say was a lot of classical music and stuff like that. So when you approach a project with the openness of, okay, now where will this allow me to play, what is the playground I can go into with this, and then I think the answers come to you. Yes, there's a lot of trial and error. There are a lot of times that you will fall flat on your face, but I also feel that a lot of the times the best decisions come out of this back and forth. Like in Batla House, there's this one track which is now of late become very popular on Instagram called Experience by this Italian composer called Ludovico Einaudi. This was a track that my associate Sagar had made me hear in like 2017 or 18. And that became, for the offline, became the theme of Batla House. So if you listen to the song, it's violin, it's poignant, it's melancholic. It's not thrilly, but it speaks to the mind space that John is in the film. he's very troubled with the encounter that's happened. So this track allowed me to explore the footage in a different way. That what if you juxtapose this kind of a soundscape with a shootout, with students and the cops, right? How will it work? A lot of times it can fail, but a lot of times, like I believe in Batla House, it worked beautifully because it's not expected.
So, okay, so I already have a few questions, but I'll take them up. जैसे आपकी questions आप chat पे डाल दीजिए. Take it up for sure. I'm lining up one after the other. So now that we've understood key, you're attempting genres in this way. Now each of these genres are being created, crafted with a writer director, and each writer director will have a very unique style. उनका भी एक style होगा काम करने का, approach होगा. How do you approach what is required to work with different directors with different styles?
I feel one of the most important things, not only when it comes to, I think, when it comes to working with other directors, but in general, is be humble, know that you don't know everything, be aware of what you do know and how you can use that to better tell the director's story. Because at the end of the day, we all say, you know, that a film is a collaborative unit. It is a hum sab hamari film hai, hum team hai sab, and that's all correct. But at the end of the day, the film is the director's vision. He's not making it; it's his vision that everybody is coming together to make into reality. So मेरे लिए to be able to collaborate with a director is of paramount importance. I don't think that an editor can work in isolation without the director, because at the end of the day, your understanding of the matter might be very different from what he or she wants to communicate. So, जैसे मैं अगर निखिल सर की बात करूं, निखिल सर, maybe it's because again he's literally, I've grown up in his office, but he's very तू कर ले but कुछ magic कर. So he's very free, you know, he'll be like तुम करो. Whereas somebody like Milap, when I worked on with at like Satyamev Jayate, it was a completely different experience, because I knew that when it comes to mass cinema, Milap has uski pakad is way better than mine on this, because this is something that he's grown up on, he's written it. So I let Milap take the lead. I'm like, okay, I know these are the things that I'm very good at, but a mass moment, how it needs to be juiced so that you get those claps and those whistles in a single screen. That is what I learned from Milap. And I saw that when I went to see, जब हम लोग गए थे first day first show सत्यमेव जयते देखने गेटी गैलेक्सी में, तो वो मेरी एक तो मेरी लाइफ का फर्स्ट हिट था, और पहली बार मैं, क्योंकि मैं भी जैसे मैंने कहा कि मैं गेटी में बड़ा हूँ, तो वही थिएटर में जाके जो पिक्चर तुम अपने वो 27 इंच के मॉनिटर पे काट रहे हो, वही अभी बिग स्क्रीन प्ले इट्स प्लेइंग एंड पीपल आर गोइंग एब्सोल्युटली क्रेजी, then you understand कि अच्छा, this is why he wanted to hold this shot more, this is why he wanted to increase this here. And that's when you, so a learning happens when you're doing it, and then when you see the result of it is when you can internalize what you've learned. So with Milap, it's that. With Abhay, I think it has been the best collaboration, who directed Rocket Boys. That has been the best collaboration of my life, because that entire unit, I've never seen somebody treat, like all the unit members treat each other with so much respect for their technical craft. And Rocket Boys, I would like to believe, is a complete collaboration between Abhay and me. And those are the projects which are the most fun, because, like I said, you can take it to a point, you can get it to a certain stage, but वहां से finish line तक लेके जाने के लिए you need the director. It is something that happens in tandem. So you must be, I think, like I said, humility is of paramount importance. Know that you don't, like, you're learning every day. Like, I've been doing this for 8-9 years now. I still feel like I've just started learning. Like, I've just sort of understood what is the importance of like storytelling. Everyone says it's about the story, it's about being engaged and all. But when you break it down fundamentally, what does that mean? Because you only have to do it, right, as the editor. You have to get it to a stage where the director will be like, okay, this is what I'm thinking, but now how do we make this even better? Abhay is an absolute perfectionist. वो I think telecast के दिन तक कुछ ना कुछ तो कर रहा था VFX में. If I'm not wrong, वो तो एक shot तो I think telecast के बाद चला गया था. So Abhay is somebody that I've learned the importance of being of everything having to be perfect, but also living with the reality that it will never be. So collaboration, I believe, is very, very important. At the end of the day, you are telling the director's story, you are bringing his vision to life, and even if you do a lot of good work, even if you do get whatever awards, praises, all of that, it's all noise. Just don't let that cloud your work ethic. Don't let it cloud your approach, because at the end of the day, there will always be someone smarter than you. There will always be someone who doesn't agree with you or has a उनका point अलग है. So how you adapt along with growing, I think, will determine a lot about your future.
So when you're talking about collaboration, and I have just one more question, and after that we will come to an exciting piece which we are doing with you. But when you're talking about collaboration and you're talking about working with the director, how important is it for writers to understand an editor's role? Because what they wrote is where everything began, and what the editor does is where everything ends. So ये जो piece है, many writers हमारे sessions में आ चुके हैं, उन्होंने कहा है कि we would really like to know that what is it that I need to keep in mind when I'm writing, ताकि not just cinematographer कैसे shoot करेगा, production design कैसे design करेगा, but finally जब वो edit होगा, what is it that I want it to still convey? What is it that they should keep in mind, writers specifically?
I believe that so most of the projects I've worked on, I think barring maybe SMJ1, I can't remember, but most of them have been, the screenplay has changed on the edit table. And a lot of writers get very, perturbed by this, ki yaar humne jo likha hai wahi, how can you change whatever. But what I think is very important to realize that whatever decisions are being taken are taken for the betterment of the story or the film. It's not कि मुझे इस writer के साथ कोई 36 है तो मुझे ये scene निकालना है. It's never like that. So I have been fortunate to work with a lot of young writers as well. Like Mumbai Diaries was written by like really, really young writers. And they very quickly understood that, like Mumbai Diaries season 2, I'll give you an example. Mumbai Diaries season 2, what was written on the script, and we were very lucky because it takes place in one night. But the sequence of events of how the story unfolded, because there were also multiple tracks, we realized early on in the edit that we need to change the screenplay. That in the way it's written is not being communicated in the most effective way. And like I said, luckily it was all on one night, so moving things around was a lot easier. But that entire restructuring of season 2 in collaboration with the writer, with the associate director, that I believe like Mumbai Diaries season 2 remains one of my projects closest to my heart, because that season was structured completely on the edit table, and I'm very proud of how it's come out and how it's also been received. Similarly with Rocket Boys season 2 had a lot of restructuring. In that Abhay was the writer, so it was a very, very collaborative effort. But I think the most important thing for writers to realize is that अगर कुछ change हो रहा है तो उसके पीछे एक reason है. तो आप ईगो के साथ मत अप्रोच कीजिए, आप ह्यूमिलिटी से देखिए, और आप स्टोरी को और फिल्म को पहले आप उसको पहले प्रायोरिटी दो. फॉरगेट कि एडिटर ने क्या किया, डीओपी ने कैसे शूट किया, डायरेक्टर ने कैसे किया. एंड में हम सब एक फिल्म बना रहे हैं. तो क्या ये डिसीजन, क्या ये सीन निकालने से, या इस सीन को यहाँ से निकाल के यहाँ डालने से, क्या स्टोरी इज द स्टोरी बिकमिंग मोर इफेक्टिव, then it's a call for the collective good, right? So I think keeping the film as priority is most important. And I genuinely feel that from script to screen, there are, I won't say things that get lost in translation, but things that change in translation. And when it comes to the edit, it's your job to be like, okay, this was the intention of the writer, this was the intention of the director. Now, how do we mold these things so that this point comes through?
That's actually quite interesting. I think we should all practice in the industry the art of detachment. Don't get
Yeah.
attached and have be extremely detached. which आप बना रहे हैं, होगा, you have no control. Neither do you have a control on the outcome, how people will, like it or
Yeah.
react. So we'll, for Info members and others, we'll do meditation sessions also. Uh, yeah, I think we'll have to build some life skills. So I have one last question, then I want to come up to our exciting surprise for everyone. And yes, thank you so
Okay.
much. These questions आप chat पे डालते रहिए. मैंने सबको sequence किया. I will be taking up each and every question. One last question I have, and this is the question which excites me the most because it's interesting how everybody's, I wouldn't want to use the word dealing, but is actually weaving it into their careers, is the disruption of AI. Many AI jobs, AI platforms have reduced jobs of coders and builders who were indispensable. कोई सोच भी नहीं सकता था. Some things like cyber security and all of that has become very important because of AI. AI is also being, उसकी वजह से काफी plagiarism शुरू हो रहा है. लोग, so much of, so AI is causing a large scale disruption. This is a very technical space. It has a creative output which is from the mind, but how would you like to, how do you see AI as, is it a distant cousin of yours? Is it something which you're worried about? How do you see AI in your field?
I see AI at the moment, and I could be wrong about this, but I see AI as that really young, fresh out of college intern who has come with knowledge about technology and brought so much that you didn't know about. So at the moment, because I have also been, I mean, AI is something that has fascinated me ever since OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, and then I have been following it in the news. And I have been, especially now with the kind of developments that have been made, I've been watching a lot of interviews of front-end engineers as well. And what I have understood, and I think it's the same for editing as well, is that there are a lot of menial mechanical processes that have to happen before the real creative part starts. Now that could be sorting, syncing of footage. That could be, there could be a multitude of things. So right now, what I feel is that AI is a helper for you to be able to do all the menial stuff and get that out of the way quicker. I see it as an empowering sidekick that, if used correctly, can really benefit any field. Could be coders, it could be editors, it could be DOPs, it could be visual effects. With the kind of stuff that's happening with Sora now that's come out, like once Sora becomes open to the public, I don't think anybody will be going out to shoot B-roll. You will just कि मुझे क्या चाहिए, हाँ, I need a college exterior Rajasthan day, और वो आ जाएगा. तुम्हें shoot करने की जरूरत नहीं है. There's one tool in Adobe, because Adobe has now started incorporating AI into Premiere, which is called the remix feature, or I think it's called remix. But like when we use a particular piece of music, like, and it's like, say it's a 2-minute track, but we need only 45 seconds. You would have to manually, be like, this is a good point to cut, and take the end of the song and put it here, so that I have a nice. It doesn't sound abrupt. But now with this tool, you can just drag the end of the clip to where you want it, or वो automatically सब कर लेता है. 90% of the times it's true, it works. But yes, 10% of the time you can get an idea कि अच्छा ये part अच्छा है, ये end का मैं कर लूँगा अलग से. Then there's stuff like scene edit detection, or for stuff where when you shoot, जब interviews जब shoot होते हैं, there's a lot of those blank spaces where there's no audio. So AI is able to cut out all those pauses and everything and give you a timeline that you can start editing with. So I believe ki if used correctly, it can only empower you, make your work easier. I'm sure 5 years ago, like I remember when before Sora, when V1 came out of this entire video generation, there was that clip of Will Smith eating noodles or something, and it was absolutely it. You could see it was bad. It was not realistic. Nothing, and nobody would have thought much about it. But now, when you see Sora's capabilities, people are suddenly like, "Oh, itna sara, matlab, there's been so much progress in just 1 year." So in 5 years, I'm sure there will come a time when a lot of the I don't want to say gada mazduri, but a lot of the gada mazduri work that happens before creativity can start, that will become much faster. It will make people more efficient. And if at some point AI can edit a film with emotion, then we shall find new jobs. But I don't see that happening because human intervention will always be key. Because what AI doesn't have is soul, and I think that only comes from a human touch. So yeah, I think we're in a really exciting space. I don't feel, I don't think there's any need to worry, because if seen correctly, these are just empowering tools.
So I want to also share this with everyone and with you, Mahir. ऐसी स्पेक्यूलेशन हिस्ट्री में काफी बार हो चुकी है. जब इंटरनेट आया था तब
Correct.
अकाउंटेंट्स की नौकरी चली जाएगी,
Yeah.
बिकॉज अकाउंटिंग कंप्यूटिंग विल बी डन बाय कंप्यूटर्स. वो तो हुआ नहीं अभी.
Correct.
ये हमारी जिंदगी है. So same thing happened when Amazon and eBay came. उन्होंने कहा सब
Yeah.
बंद हो जाएंगे. Yes, it disrupted. Effect होता है. But अभी भी आपके पास malls हैं and they are now much more experiential. Rather, they have redefined the way shopping is done. But
Correct.
it's the idea, like you said, it replaces a certain amount of effort जो machine को करना चाहिए. And
Correct.
let the brilliance of building a narrative, the brilliance of innovation stay with the innovator, which is the human element. So I'm very happy you said this, because I've sat in so many tech company conferences which are attempting. So basically everybody is thinking AI should not start causing nuisance, which cyber security companies will become richer, like COVID made
Yeah.
the companies richer. But it's the other side that, it actually is supposed to reduce some very जो आपका है very basic aspects of your effort, उसको कम कर देगा, and you can focus more on doing what is really important. That's how we also see. Very happy that you said this. I hope I have already got 13, 14 questions. Actually, more than
Wow.
that.
Okay.
So I'll quickly come to questions, but like I said, आज हमारा एक interesting, exciting announcement है. I want to really. So we are coming up with a course with Maahir, and that course is happening, yay, in the month of May. We have time for all of you to make time, because it is going to be a fairly long course. Dates and everything is there on a web page. But before we go to the details, I would request Maahir to explain the course to you. ये क्या course है, आप क्या सीखेंगे, उसमें क्या होगा. So I have a small presentation which I will now put up. Maahir, if you want to take you want to get a glass of water, it's okay.
No, I have water. I've just been dealing with a terrible cough since.
Yes, we are aware. We've actually been recovering. So I'll quickly share my screen, and if you can take everyone through this, I will also be there to answer questions from the platform side of it. But the content. Yeah. So I'll just quickly give out the macro format. It's a 4-day online course. अभी तक हमने 4 days रखा है. It could become 5 depending as to the number of students and the way the course goes. So while it is being planned at 4, depends if we need a day extra, वो extend हो जाएगा. It is a live course. So Maahir will be teaching you online. You are not going to sit in front of a recorded session. It's an online session. So it will be at least minimum 2 hours every day when we have the course. It will be around 4 days. Like we mentioned, it's online. None of you have to travel. You will get a certificate which confirms that you've completed X number of hours. So if it's 2 hours every day for 4 days, 8 hours of course by Maahir Zaveri on a certain topic, which are the subtopics. So क्या आपने सीखा है, that will also be mentioned as part of the certificate. This is limited seats because we cannot accommodate beyond a particular number. Learning experience affect hota hai. So that is why this batch size is kept small, so that every individual person can have their questions answered and learn entirely on what they want to learn as part of in the 4 sessions. Workshop highlights, over to you, Maahir.
Okay, so I actually find it very ironic that a college dropout is being asked to give a course on editing, but I am very, very excited to do this. Like I said, मैंने खुद सीखा है, मुझे किसी ने सिखाया नहीं है, तो मैं जिस तरह से the learnings that I have got, I hope to share with the students or with whoever joins this course. Some of the highlights of this course will be this: how can we use the editing software as a creative playground rather than just a tool? I'm sure a lot of people now are aware of कि क्या होता है, कैसे आप software को use करके how do you tell a story, but the capabilities that the software allows you कि आप क्या क्या कर सकते हो to make your story more effective, वो बहुत सारी चीजें सीखने को मिलेगी. ये next one will be editing for thrill. Yes, so if you see my filmography, there's thrill, there's drama. The editing styles change a lot. So what I thought will be an interesting exercise is that we will take sequences from Batla House, from Mumbai Diaries, from Satyamev Jayate, Bazaar, Rocket Boys, and break them down on the timeline itself. Right? Why were these decisions taken? Why was a certain cut made in a certain way? Is it why did I feel that this was the most effective way of either showing a person's state of mind, whether it's John Abraham's PTSD in Batla House or Kaushik's PTSD in season 2 of Mumbai Diaries. So these are things that there are small things that we focus on to add to the overall thrill. Similarly, for drama, it comes drama when you edit is more about human connection and what is not only what is the story demand, but what is my character demand. That comes a lot from when you edit for drama. Again, we'll take sequences, we'll take scenes. Maybe once the students sign up, we can probably conduct like a little survey, being like, okay, what sequences from these films stood out for you guys, and then we can take those, break them down on the timeline, because I also find it much easier to explain when I have the software open, as opposed to just talking about it. So yes, similarly, again, when you are editing for drama, what choices can you make that heighten the drama or the emotion? Is it staying a fraction longer on a sequence? Is it about cutting to somebody who to see the impact of a line, rather than who said it, but what is the impact of that line being on someone else? Transitions are my most favorite thing to deal with, because when your transitions are seamless between scenes, your story is not interrupted. And I'm sure a lot of people would have heard this, that when an editor's work is invisible is when it's the best, because your work should not stand out. The seamlessness of a narrative is what's more important, and transitions between scenes play a very big role. Yes, how can editors balance creative input while fulfilling the director's vision? This is going to be a continuous pull and tug for you for your career, because a lot of times जो director के दिमाग में है वो तुम्हारे दिमाग में नहीं था, और जो तुम्हारे दिमाग में है तुम्हें लगता है कि यही correct है. So how do you collaborate? क्योंकि लड़के फिल्में नहीं बनती, collaboration से बनती है. So how do you adapt your working style? I think another very important point in this is just how to stay calm. I believe that is one skill that especially editors, because this job requires a lot of patience, but how staying calm can actually help, especially when things become more stressful, and that will happen with different directors. So on day one, we shall have the introduction and the orientation. So we will introduce everybody, get to know who's joined, why have they joined, what do they want, what do they hope to learn from this. There will be a project that will be given. It will be an exercise that you will have to submit, and you will be judged on that. So yes, that will mainly be about day one. Day two is again no proper breakdown into the software. We will be breaking down sequences from films again, and the project that I have in mind currently will require a lot of creative thinking. So closer to the date, we will announce what that is, and it will be a lot of collaboration again on this assignment, because it will be me asking you to give me your version of something. It could be a scene, it could be a film, it could be a film. But I think that this will be a lot of fun. Yeah, we can go ahead. Like I mentioned before, this day 3 we will deal with drama, and I also feel a thing we should add into this is how to edit for mass. Mass films like SMJ or Marjava have shown me that sometimes you need to take the rules that are there and just throw them out the window. क्योंकि ये point पे सीटी बचेगी, you know. So that has been a really different type of learning, and I would love to share that with you guys as well. Rocket Boys on the other end is something that's very classical. So it'll be fun to discuss these two projects, these two different types of genres, and more transitions. Yes. And then day 4 will finally be the kind of like a recap of everything that's happened, and then the project that's been given that will be shared, and each student will be able to share their work, and then will be judged by us. That is the certificate you shall get. I hope you guys come and join. End of slide.
Right. Thank you so much, Mahir, for that. I'll just keep this slide on for some time for anybody who wants to scan the QR code, although you can just come to cininfo.in and you can go to the section which is expert online class and you can register immediately for Mahir's session. So I will put all the details in the chat again. Any which ways you have our website, our Instagram. There are so many ways to reach out to us. So just reach out to us and you can take a screenshot, you can take a photograph of this page, and you will be able to identify how to get access to this particular session. Before I move to the Q&A, one last question, Mahir. Editing
Okay.
never done in isolation. आपने टीम में काम किया होगा और आज की डेट पे आपके पास अपनी टीम रही होगी. Can you tell us a little bit about working with the right set of minds, or and how does that happen for you? A little bit about your team.
So honestly, I strongly believe कि मैं जिस मुकाम पे भी पहुंचा हूँ, मैं जहाँ पे भी I have reached is because of my team. Mainly my associates Sagar and Sachin. These guys have been working with me now for about 6 years, and मुझे जिस तरह उन लोग से जिस तरह का सपोर्ट मिला है, उन लोग the kind of unquestioning loyalty and dedication that they have, again, not only to me but to the project, to the film, has been exceptional. I don't think you can do this alone. I think it is very important for you to have a team. um, Sachin does most of my the first assemblies, the lineups. He does most of that. Sagar is my technical guruji. He is the one who keeps educating me about AI. He is the one who educates me about After Effects. He is an exceptional sound designer. I mean, he's an editor himself, but his pakad on sound is incredible. So a lot of the times when we've had to like design, like if it's a big action sequence या chase चालू है या कुछ है जहाँ पे not only the footage but it's also because at the end of the day it's audio and video. तो video तो तुम्हारे पास है, but audio also plays a very key part. And granted, it's going to be done finally by the sound designer. It's going to be done by professionals, but your job, or at least that's what I believe, is to present the most polished version of a cut that you can to a director. And my team is what enables me to do that. I know that if there's such a very complicated sequence which needs very creative sound design, I know Sagar will crack it. If I know that there's a very complicated sequence which has been shot, like action or like the entire shootouts at Batla House or all the action sequences in Mumbai Diaries, I know that because of the tuning that Sachin and me have, he will be able to line it up, and not only the assembly but also all the takes and everything in a particular way which works for me, wherein uh, it basically makes my process much easier. So I don't believe that you can do anything without a team. And I think the most important thing why we've all worked so well is, again, everyone's ego is left at the door. There is no boss, and employee, none of that. We are a team. I don't even refer to them as my assistants. They are my associates, and hum saath mein we have come to be able to do our job in the best way, and we help each other. A lot of times that I will help Sagar with something or with Sachin with something, and similarly they will with me. So the importance of a team cannot be overstated. And I would also like this opportunity to say thank you to them because they have been absolute soldiers since the last 5, 6 years. And I do hope that it's a continued collaboration for many years to come.
Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
actually, we have got similar. So everybody, all the experts who have joined us till date have always spoken about the importance of having a good team, whether it's a cinematographer, writer, director, editor. And this whole collaborative aspect of the industry is what makes every individual shine out so much better because there are so
Yeah.
many so brilliant to making sure that the outcome is so good. So, and it's we would like to think that's true for all industries, but let me tell you, I'm from the corporate industry. Many are. It's not. It's so it's refreshing. It's actually refreshing to see that this industry has this kind of and whatever said, many people have many things to say about the culture, but this is what I find very interesting. Now, quickly moving to our questions. The first question
Yes.
I have for you, Mark, is from Vedika. Vedika, I will pin the speaker, I will pin the person who's asked the question. Please switch on your video so that Mahir can see you. It's good to talk to a person and not to a blank screen. तो अपना वीडियो जरूर ऑन करिएगा जब हम आपका क्वेश्चन ले रहे हैं. दूसरी बात, जब हम आपका क्वेश्चन ले रहे हैं, अगर आपने 2-3 क्वेश्चंस लिए हैं तो आप सारे क्वेश्चंस एक ही साथ एटलीस्ट 2 क्वेश्चंस क्लब करके एक साथ कर लीजिए so that सबके क्वेश्चंस आंसर हो सके. So first question is from Vedika. I'm going to just find Vedika. Yeah, there we have Vedika. So hi Vedika, please do switch on your video while I read out your question. Vedika question है, please mention the name of the website where we can get good background music. And Vedika का second question भी है, some tips on how to land a first job in this industry to make good portfolio as a beginner.
Hi, Vedika. So thank you very much for your question. Okay, so there are 2 websites, I think, which I would recommend. One is, I think it's called BMG Source Audio. I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong, but if you just Google that, वहाँ पे आपको मिल जाएगा. So BMG Source Audio is an extensive website जहाँ पे आपको genre specific या आपको वहाँ उसका search function भी बहुत मजेदार है. आप सिर्फ like अगर आपको action trippy या tense drone या जो भी है, you can find different types of soundscapes over there. The other one is, I think it's called Universal something. I second वाला मेरे को याद नहीं है, but I will share this with Dina. Then maybe you can put that up somewhere. But these 2 websites, even if you just start off with BMG Source Audio, it's there are like thousands and thousands of albums and different styles. And honestly, that website is where I spent like 5 hours in the start of a project just listening to different types of, and their music is incredible. So that is what you can use. And the second question about how tips for how to get into, so because I have been asked this question a lot over the years, and because मेरी entry और जिस तरह से मेरा career की growth हुई है वो बहुत अलग है. So I would say that of course you can reach out to an editor, to be his assistant or her assistant. Another way which I think which people don't speak about a lot is that maybe start as an assistant director. Nowadays an assistant director needs to have editing skills part of his or her repertoire. वो प्री प्रोडक्शन में बहुत सारे वीडियोस बनते हैं और मैंने भी वहीं से शुरुआत की थी. डीडे में जो डीडे का प्री प्रोडक्शन प्रोमो था फिल्म का, आई थिंक जो हम लोग, वी हैड इंटरनेशनल एक्शन डायरेक्टर्स और निखिल सर वाज गोइंग टू लंदन टू मीट देम, सो ही वांटेड अ प्री प्रोडक्शन ट्रेलर कट एंड आई कट दैट as an assistant. So nowadays I see a lot of ADs having to do a lot of edit work. So if you are somebody who's interested in editing and you know that मेरी इस पे पकड़ है, maybe try to get in from there, because when your skill is appreciated there, it becomes easier for you to transition. So I came from being an AD. Sagar, my associate, he was the head of marketing. So it's you can come from any field, but I believe कि AD में also AD बनने से क्या होता है कि तुम्हें एक होलिस्टिक व्यू आ जाता है पिक्चर कैसे बनती है, और उसमें कितनी मेहनत होती है, लाइक कितनी मेहनत लगती है एक पिक्चर बनाने में. सो वहां से आई थिंक इफ यू आर जस्ट स्टार्टिंग आउट, गेटिंग into a production house through as an AD, and then building from there will be an interesting way to go about it as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vedika. Dina, you've disappeared.
You won't will see.
You're back.
Yes.
Now I can hear you.
Feeling two people. So now Saf has many questions. Saf is an editor, working editor, and he has given me, I think, 5-6 questions. So Saf, I'll try to club all your questions together. Just looking at your first one. My question is, what is in your mind? What is your mind map before cutting the trailer? And who to give essence of the story, and what are the steps to to start a project, like step 1, compile, etc. So what is your mind map? Aapka mind map kya hai? So that's first question.
Okay.
Once you answer that, I can share the second question.
ठीक है. So was this question about trailers? Did I hear that correctly? Beginning में कुछ.
This is the question. Mind map on. He's just said that yes, before cutting the trailer.
Yeah, so I don't cut trailers. I've tried doing that, and I realized कि मुझे नहीं, उसका एक अलग ही rhythm है, उसका एक अलग ही वो है. I find it very very difficult. But I can answer your question when it comes to the start of a project and what my mind space is. For me, I read the script a couple of times. Once I understand where the film lies, then, like I said, I get into music, and it can be consuming any types, like any different types of music. It can be songs, it can be OSTs, it can be film music, it can be classical, it can be anything. And that helps to get me sort of acclimatized into the world in which I'm going to be setting the film. And aside from that, just पढ़ने की एक आदत रख लो, whether it's the news online, whether it's Reddit, whether it's whatever. But if you just keep learning and you keep having that will to always try something new, you will understand कि अच्छा ये जो, which sounds like a run of the mill type of a sequence, अगर इसको इस तरह से approach करेंगे तो वो अलग बन सकता है. तो always be willing to experiment, always be willing to try new things, and बस हो जाएगा अपने.
So sorry, Saif has apologized for not being able to use his camera. उनके camera में कोई issue है, so no worries.
No problem.
The
Thank
second
you.
question Saif has
Yes.
that how do you approach the process of editing a film, editing a video from start to finish? I think पहला वाला trailer था, ये film का है.
जी.
To ensure cohesive and engaging final product.
ये जो है ये एक 8-9 महीने का प्रोसेस है. तो आप as you are an editor yourself, you will know कि there are a lot of stages जिसमें एक फिल्म की जर्नी होती है. लाइक पहले जब आपको सीक्वेंस फुटेज आता है तब आप एक सीन बना रहे हो, फिर उसके आसपास जब 5-10 सीन बन जाते तो वो एक सीक्वेंस बनता है. फिर जब पूरा आप कंपाइल करते हो तो फर्स्ट हाफ सेकंड हाफ बनता है. एंड अलोंग द वे एट एवरी पॉइंट यू विल रियलाइज कि अच्छा ये नहीं काम कर रहा है, अच्छा ये जो दिमाग में था ये एक्चुअली उल्टा हो गया है, ये तो अच्छा ये सीन और ये सीन में तो कोई देयर इज नो, ये क्यों आ रहा है यहाँ पे, इसका ये जो इमोशन यहाँ जा रहा था अब मैं नीचे क्यों आ गया. सो वो आप नेवर कंसिडर कि ये मेरा फाइनल कट है. वो तुम्हारा फाइनल कट जब तुम्हारी फिल्म रिलीज होगी तब वो फाइनल कट होगा. बट आई बिलीव कि जो फिल्म होती है वो एक इवॉल्विंग ऑर्गेनिज्म टाइप, अगर उस हिसाब से अगर आप देखो कि वो it will demand to always have changes made, and what you need to, I think, keep in the forefront is like the one question which is kind of like my mantra is, okay, but what is my story demand? is this helping my story at the end? कि you have the like जब audience picture देखती है तो they are unfolding the film along with you when you're watching. But as a technician, when you get into it, you know the start, middle, and end. You know where the film ends. You know where the film has to reach. So taking that time to kind of zoom out and being like, "Nahi, okay, these sequences, yeah, these scenes are very nice in isolation, and they do help my story, but in the larger scheme of things, maybe they don't need to be there." So वो objectivity रखना वो काफी important है. और बस I think when you start off and you've done a good amount of your prep work, it will fall into place.
Super. Thank you so much for the question, Saif.
Thank you, Saif.
Thank you. The next question is by Abhay Chaubey. Hi, Abhay. Welcome back. Hi, Iris. So, Abhay, do you want to read out your question or? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Maahir. How are you?
Hi, Abhay. I'm good.
So, Maahir, I just wanted to ask, like, what is your whole creative process of jamming with a director? In terms of conceiving a scene, are you involved in the pre-production when he's making a short division? Are you there on the set while he's shooting? Like how many shots one needs in a scene to work, the scene its best, or like, all that whole process of how you jam, with them.
Yeah.
Is something that I wanted to ask. And I have also one more question that I can
Yes.
ask. I can ask later.
Okay, so thank you Abhay for your question. So मेरे लिए honestly जब pre-production होता है मेरा involvement honestly is still the stage of course script पढ़ने के बाद अगर मुझे कुछ लगा तो फिर director के साथ share करना और जो musically जो मैं world create करना चाहता हूँ वो मैं हमेशा director के साथ share करता हूँ कि मेरा thought process ये है या what अगर हम लोग इसको इस तरीके से approach करें तो it will be quite interesting. Other than that, मैं फिर honestly set इतना नहीं जाता हूँ. After that process, once इन लोग जब production में चले जाते हैं, तब मैं completely detach हो जाता हूँ उन लोग से, because वो करने से तुम अपनी objectivity maintain कर सकते हो. कि अगर आप रोज सेट पे जा रहे हो, आपने देखा कि अच्छा ये सीक्वेंस जो इन्हें 4 दिन लगे और इतनी मतलब माथा फोड़ी हुई थी इसको शूट करने में और ये फाइनली हम लोग ने मिला है, बट वो बाद में एडिट पे जाके ऐसा भी लग सकता है कि यार ये तो बकवास है, इसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. तो वो ऑब्जेक्टिविटी मेंटेन करने के लिए आई स्टे अवे फ्रॉम द सेट. आई डू गो कभी कभार ऑफ कोर्स डायरेक्टर से मिलने या बिकॉज मैंने एडी से स्टार्ट किया था, तो सेट जाकर जो मुझे खुशी मिलती है टिल टुडे is unmatched to anything else. So it's not like I don't like it, मुझे बहुत पसंद है, but मैं ट्राई करता हूँ अपनी तरफ से to detach completely because मेरा काम है स्टोरी बनाना बस. I don't care how it was shot, I don't care how many takes it took, I don't care कि तुम्हें 1000 लोग की भीड़ संभालनी थी, वो उसमें मुझे मेरा कोई लेना देना नहीं है.
वो समटाइम्स होता है ना कि जैसे कोई शॉट छूट जाता है या वो क्लोज रह गया या वो चीज वो जो होती है ना that is very important for the scene to have, some shots there which are very imperative that need to be there, for the scene to work. So that kind of sense.
So उस basically क्या होता है कि मैं जब भी कोई whenever film starts shooting, I start my work from the next day only. Not कि मैं अभी चालू हुई अभी मैं 1-2 महीने के बाद आऊंगा. And every day along with my associates we are putting the sequences together और उसी time realize हो जाता है अगर कुछ missing है. Also अभी मेरे last 2-3 projects पे Sagar, Sachin who are my associates, they were on shoot because they were I think it was for SMJ2 and for Adhura and some other project जहाँ पे उन लोग outdoor का काफी लंबा schedule था, तो it was important for them to have somebody there who is able to put it together कि था ये एक शॉट रह गया या इसकी जरूरत है, तो वो एक होता है. बट हाँ अगर आउटडोर हो या बॉम्बे में हो, हम लोग लिटरली नेक्स्ट डे 2 से हमारा काम चालू हो जाता है, तो वी आर क्वाइट इन सिंक. So yeah.
And do you also speak to the DP in terms of angles and shots and movements and all of that? वो थोड़ा होता है आप लोगों का jam?
Not really in sense. Of course अगर कोई interesting like references हो या कुछ अगर मैंने देखा है मैं, but I believe कि आप technician को लाइक मैं कभी को बताऊंगा नहीं कि सर आपको ना इस एंगल से शूट
हाँ
करना
ऐसे
चाहिए,
हाँ श्योर श्योर
है ना, तो बिकॉज
राइट
ही नो, वो उसकी लाइक इट्स हिज
राइट
स्पेशलिटी.
नो आई वाज जस्ट क्यूरियस दैट्स व्हाई आई
Yeah,
जस्ट
no, but in the collaborative work, like I'll tell you, in like Rocket Boys में मेरी हर्षवीर के साथ जो डीओपी थे उसके साथ ट्यूनिंग बहुत अच्छी थी, तो that was a very collaborative effort. मुंबई डायरी सीजन 1 में कौशल के साथ मेरी ट्यूनिंग बहुत सही थी, तो उस क्या होता है, एक म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट फॉर ईच अदर्स क्राफ्ट आ जाता है, और एंड में आप फिल्म के लिए ही कर रहे हो दोनों.
करेक्ट
तो हाँ, कोलैबोरेशन तो मेरे को बहुत मजा आता है.
करेक्ट
या
and
Thank
my
you.
just last question
We have
the,
like 11 questions.
sorry okay all right sure no problem
Can you put
थैंक यू सो मच अभय.
thank you so much
the other question? That's what I'm saying, Abhay. You can put in the chat.
no
If it
problem
doesn't get covered, I'll circle back. I promise.
sure
Thank you, Abhay. Thank you so much.
thank you Dina.
So we have the next question with Harshad Mori. Harshad's question is, I think it's been answered, but Harshad, मैं आपको question दे रही हूँ. For scenarios from first cut to final cut, how does it get changed in terms of screen time?
So honestly, मेरा hi, thank you for your question. What I have realized कि जब first cut जब कोई भी पिक्चर की बनती है तो वो बहुत लंबी होती है, काफी like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 4 hours types first cut हो जाती है. But वो जब first cut बनता है, या उससे मैं honestly assembly बुलाऊंगा, it becomes easy as an editor to see that and be like, okay, this is working, this is working, this is working, this entire section is not working, this is working. So wo to be able to break down scientifically that timeline, that happens from the assembly, which is usually a very long and extended cut, and that is a cut which evolves over time. And I feel the जो soul होता है वो it remains the same, but yes, everything around that changes by the time you reach your final cut, because as I mean, editors here will know, editing is constantly about making choices. You know, you select from 10, you make 8, then you make 6, then you make 4, then you have to choose 2, and then you have only 1. That is something that is constantly happening again and again and again, and it's all about the choices that you have to make given the stuff that you have. So of course first cut से final cut का जो journey है वो काफी like evolve, like जैसे मैंने कहा कि वो बहुत evolving sort of a process है, जिसमें पिक्चर इवॉल्व होती हो, तुम इवॉल्व होते हो, तुम ग्रो होते हो, और फाइनली लाइक आई सेड, जो क्या मुद्दा है जिसे हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं उस पे हम कैसे इफेक्टिवली आए, वो प्रोसेस फाइनल कट तक होपफुली हो जाना चाहिए.
Thank you so much for that. Harshad, I hope that has answered your question. आपका question answer हुआ है.
हेलो हाय
Yes.
माहिर.
हाय हर्षित.
हर्षद हियर. मर जाओ में भी था, असिस्टेंट डीओपी में था, फोकस फिलिंग में.
ओह अच्छा.
या इवन आई आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ द एम्पायर आल्सो.
अरे
एक और चीज मुझे पूछना था कि
जी
जब हम लोग कोई और प्लेटफॉर्म से अप्रूव होती है चीजें कि ये सीन को आपको काटना है,
जी.
और कुछ डायलॉग ऐसे कुछ होते प्रॉब्लमेटिक डायलॉग्स या कुछ भी कट करना है, तो उसके बाद वो सीन को पूरा का पूरा उसका सोल मेंटेन रखने के लिए आप कैसे उसको प्रोसीड कर.
तो एक्चुअली ये बहुत एक्चुअली इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल है, क्योंकि बहुत बारी ऐसा होता है, लाइक मुंबई डायरीज में हुआ था, बाटला हाउस में हुआ था, क्योंकि वो एक ट्रू स्टोरी थी. बट बहुत बारी ऐसे मैंडेट्स आ जाते हैं, या वो सेंसर से हो या प्लेटफॉर्म से हो, कि आप इस बारे में बात नहीं कर सकते, या आपने ये टॉपिक छेड़ा है अभी, उसके अराउंड आपको काटना पड़ा है. मुंबई डायरीज सीजन 1 में ये बहुत बारी हुआ था. उसमें एक्चुअली काफी टॉपिक्स थे जो टैबू माने जाते थे, तो वी हैड टू कट अराउंड देम, एंड सोल कहीं ना कहीं वहां पे छूट जाती है. वो हमेशा उसे मेंटेन रखना इज नॉट इजी, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे अगर अब ये मैंडेट अगर तुम्हें प्लेटफॉर्म से मिला है या सेंसर से मिला है, तो तुम उतना ही लड़ सकते हो. बट हाँ, मैं समझता हूँ कि सोल को अफेक्ट होता है, बट उसे किस तरह से इफेक्टिवली करते हो, आई थिंक आपकी कला होगी.
Thank you so much, Harshad. I'll have to move.
Thank you.
थैंक यू.
Thank you. Moving to the next question, we have Shri. Shri ka question है, do you think it's possible, Shri, please do switch on your video if you can. Thank you. Do you think it's possible to learn editing on the job by assisting or interning with an editor, even if you haven't grown up around the film? around the film world or people from the industry, or do you need to have a backing of an academic course? I think you're the classic answer, but yeah, over to you, Maahir.
Yes, thank you very much, Shri, for your question. आप एक कॉलेज ग्रेजुएट ड्रॉप आउट से बात कर रहे हो जो कभी फिल्म स्कूल नहीं गया था और ना उसने अपनी ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट की है. तो I am not, again, please don't get me wrong, I am not undermining the importance of an education, especially for a technical field. I think it will only help. But if for whatever reason अगर आपके पास वो access नहीं है तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. अगर आपके अंदर जज्बा है काम करने के लिए, सीखने के लिए, तो अभी तो मैं तो 2003, 4, 5 में सीखा था. अभी उस टाइम से लेके आज तक कितना लाइक नॉलेज हैज बिकम सो लाइक कमोडिटाइज्ड. अभी तो सीखने की मतलब एवेन्यूज कम नहीं है. तुम कितना सीखना चाहते हो, आई थिंक इट डिपेंड्स ऑन दैट. अगर आपको करना है, आप कोई भी सॉफ्टवेयर उठाओ. आपके फोन, टुडे पीपल आर शूटिंग फोन मूवीज ऑन देयर फोन्स. अपने फोन में कुछ शूट करके एडिट करो, खेलते रहो, अलग अलग म्यूजिक के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट करो, और कहीं ना कहीं तुम सीख जाओगे कि अच्छा ये इसको ऐसे यूज कर सकते हैं, या इसका ये एडवांटेज हो सकता है. तो आई डोंट थिंक इफ यू डोंट हैव अ फिल्म academic background, it's going to deter you. It should deter you in any way. But yeah, if you can find somebody who's, I think on the job learning, मैंने भी वैसे ही सीखी है. On the job learning, I feel, is the most important. It gives you real world situations that you have to deal with. What you will also be able to learn when you assist somebody is you will be able to take from their experiences कि उन्होंने like 10, 15, 20 साल उन्होंने क्या सीखा और अब why are they doing or making the decisions that they are. उसके पीछे भी एक लर्निंग है, उसके पीछे एक एक्सपीरियंस है. तो वो आप लाइक मैंने किसी को असिस्ट नहीं किया, तो मुझे स्टोरी टेलिंग एज वो जो क्राफ्टिंग कंपेलिंग नैरेटिव्स, वो ही सीखने में 9 साल 10 साल लग गए, और वो अभी भी मैं सीख रहा हूँ. मुझे ऐसे नहीं कि मैं सब जानता हूँ, बट वो दैट विल टू लर्न इज ऑलवेज बीइंग देयर. सो या जस्ट आप सीखो, करो, और कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा.
I would like to add, Shri, and this is important. जो हमारा आने वाला course है, it's a paid course. It's not free, but over 4 days, depending on the number of students, 4 to 5 days, we do believe that this is a course for beginners as well as intermediate. So if you feel that you are sincerely interested, this is one of the best opportunities, because you will be able to ask your questions, you will be able to learn, you will understand foundation. At the same time, you will be able to understand what is required and what is it that you're creating. So finally, जब आपका project खत्म हो जाएगा, course खत्म हो जाएगा, you would have created a project. उस project से आपको समझ में आ जाएगा A, that yes, I really want to be on this path, and B, what it takes to be on the path. So it's a very good space before you commit to an institute for 1 or 2 years. Like Maahir said, definitely nothing replaces education. But can there be something जो आपको उसके पहले बता सके? So there are details of this particular thing are there on the site. I've put it out. So do look at the course. It is definitely something you want to consider. Yeah. But I hope your question has been answered, Shri, in terms of, yeah. Okay. Great.
Awesome.
Sorry, moving to the next, we have Twisha Mehra. Twisha's question is, hi Twisha, thank you for joining. Twisha's question is, how do you adjust to using more recent softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro?
Hi Twisha, thank you very much for your question. So Adobe Premiere Pro is a software that I have been using since 2007, 8 or 6. Whenever I started editing on, I did Windows Movie Maker. मैंने एक साल के लिए use किया था to make slideshows. But Premiere I started using before Premiere was considered a professional software. In fact, आज भी हमारे इंडस्ट्री में कोई लोग हैं जो अपना नाक चढ़ा देते कि ओ तुम Premiere यूज करते हो. वो तो टूल है. Anyways, but आज Premiere is being used by Hollywood's finest. David Fincher only uses Premiere on his projects, and there are a lot of editors like that. sorry, Kirk Baxter, his editor, not David Fincher. But Premiere today, I think, has evolved to a place which it's at par, if not better, in most places than other leading non-linear editing softwares. I do know Avid is king, and that's what all the classical editors use, and it's a software that I have tried to learn. I found it complicated and confusing, and I found, and maybe because I started using Premiere from such a young age, that I don't know, I don't see myself using any other software now. The amount of crashes that you're going to have to deal with Premiere is a real thing. It's not a very stable software. Avid is a lot more stable, is what I've heard. But all my associates who have worked with me have come from other softwares, and now I have converted all of them to Premiere. So it's a great software, and there's always things available online to learn from and experiment. In fact, मैं तो अभी last week ही कुछ posterized time करके एक कोई effect देखा है जो I had no idea which is an effect I was trying to create, and then I was like, अच्छा ये मैं करना. So it's always an evolving software. I really enjoy it. And did I answer a question? I thought I've gone on a love chat about Premiere.
Yeah, you answered my question.
Hi, thank you.
So, but I have a question
Thank you.
associated with this. Would you be also talking about the softwares as part of the workshop which you are coming up? Would you be talking and elaborating as to how to use each of these?
I mean, I will definitely be able to elaborate on how I do what I do on Premiere, but the tools are pretty much the same. A paintbrush from any company does the same job, so you will be able to find the same things irrespective on what software you use. In fact, the closest one to Premiere was FCP 7, but then I know things changed a lot after FCP 10. So nowadays, I believe Premiere's adoption rate has gone up quite a lot. And if I'm not wrong, I mean, I could be wrong, but Kati Batti, which was my first film, was the first Hindi film to be edited on Premiere. There was everybody before that was either using FCP Pro, FCP 7, or Avid. And the head of DI in Prime Focus, which is at that time the largest DI house, they told me, you're the first editor who's sent us a Premiere project. Nobody's ever done that before.
Oh, super. So great. So there's a lot of editing knowledge also in terms of how to use your tools better will be shared. Next question is from Kedar Kulkarni. Kedar's question is, hi Kedar.
Hi Kedar.
So I'll read out Kedar's question. Sometimes there's a difference between idea and execution. As an editor, you see that in the frames. How do you approach such situations? How do you keep your point across? Can you share some examples?
Okay, share some examples. I don't know off the top of my head right now, but a lot of the times what happens is that तुमने ये सोचा है कि like ये sequence और ये sequence, these can be intercut, and it will be able to tell the oh, actually wait, I'll tell you what. In Mumbai Diaries season 2, in the first episode, after the titles, I believe there's a song that comes now in the episode, which was not written like that. It was 4, 5, 6 scenes that were happening one after the other. But when I was working on it and I was looking at the footage, I felt at that point कि ये सब को अगर एक बहुत खूबसूरत गाना ले और ये सारे scenes और sequences को अगर हम montage की तरह treat करें, then what will happen? और अगर आप वो episode देखोगे, इस episode season 2 episode 1 में जहाँ पे जो भी गाना आता है वो गाना था नहीं, फिर second episode के end में भी एक गाना आता है वहाँ पे जो गाना था नहीं, but हम लोग क्या कर रहे थे, through the use of music we were being able to heighten the emotions जो हम we were hoping to touch, तो वो गाने के माध्यम से हुआ. बाकी मैं तो कहूंगा कि lot of times की जो आइडिया है दिमाग में और जब आप उसे एग्जीक्यूट करते हो तो जमीन आसमान का फर्क आ ही जाता है, क्योंकि जो दिमाग में और जो आप फुटेज और अपने दिमाग के थ्रू करते हो वो उसमें तो डिफरेंसेस आएंगे, बट क्या जो आप अटेम्प्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, क्या उससे स्टोरी और इम्पैक्टफुल हो रही है या आप डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहे हो. एक बार आई थिंक वो ऑब्जेक्टिविटी आ जाएगी ना आपको, आई थिंक इट विल बिकम मच इजियर टू नॉट ओनली आइडिएट बट वो आइडियाज को फिर किस तरह से आप मोल्ड करो अपने स्टोरी के लिए.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you Kedar.
yeah. Thank you so much. Because I saw that in Rocket Boys. In Rocket Boys, all of the sequences were initially slow paced, but by the end of it, the pace has changed, and there were
Yeah.
multiple scenes. Yeah,
So
there
Rocket
were
Boys आपने अपने अभी मेरे को याद दिलाया. तो Rocket Boys सीजन सीजन 1 में if I'm not wrong वो अलग अलग टाइमलाइंस में थे. एक 60s में था, एक आई थिंक 40 में था. तो हर एपिसोड एक्चुअली जिस तरह अभय ने लिखा था वाज कि वो फ्यूचर का टाइमलाइन का एक सीन, फिर टाइटल्स और फिर हम लोग पास्ट में रहेंगे. वो फॉर्मेट था. बट हम लोग अगर आप देखोगे इट इज ओनली द फर्स्ट एपिसोड व्हिच हैज द फ्यूचर का सीन व्हाटएवर जहाँ पे विक्रम और होमी की फाइट होती है. लेकिन उसके बाद एपिसोड 7 में there comes a time when there are these lot of scenes in the future where Homi meets Nehru and there's an interrogation happening, and then that kind of takes a catch up into the present. तो वो कभी लिखा नहीं था. वो एक्चुअली निखिल सर, अभय और मेरे आइडिएशन के थ्रू हम लोग ने इस थिंग को क्रैक किया कि ये इफेक्टिव नहीं हो रहा है. ये बहुत मतलब स्टोरी ऐसे फैल रही है कि हम लोग फोकस नहीं कर पा रहे. तो अगर हम ये जो फर्स्ट का सब निकाल देंगे इसमें से एंड वी रीस्ट्रक्चर द एपिसोड सो दैट वी हैव अ डिफरेंट कोल्ड ओपनिंग, देन वी कैन यूज इट इन एपिसोड 7 टू ब्रिंग इट बैक, जहाँ पे पेस चेंज हो जाते हैं, जहाँ पे स्टेक्स बढ़ जाते हैं. तो वो एक फ्रॉम स्क्रिप्ट टू स्क्रीन जो चेंज हुआ, बट वो अगेन फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ द शो हुआ.
right.
Great.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For the session, we keep seeing you coming from many sessions. Thank you, Kedar. Okay. Now moving to the next question. Prajwal and Milind Bhole are two actors who have the common question. तो मैं दोनों को पिन कर देती हूँ. If Milind unless Milind has dropped off. Yes, अपने वीडियोस प्लीज ऑन रखिए. इन दोनों का सेम क्वेश्चन है. कैन यू गिव अस सम. प्रज्वल का क्वेश्चन है कि हाउ मच इंफॉर्मेशन शुड यू नो फॉर क्या एक्टिंग करने के लिए, अच्छी एक्टिंग करने के लिए एडिटिंग की नॉलेज जरूरी है. और मिलिंद का क्वेश्चन है क्या आप हमें कुछ टिप्स दे सकते हैं कि हम अच्छे एक्टर बने फ्रॉम एन एडिटर्स पर्सपेक्टिव.
Hi Prajwal, hi Milind. Thank you very much for your questions. So मैं honestly I don't think I'm qualified to give you tips to become a better actor, but I can definitely tell you कि मैंने क्या नोटिस किया है जब मैं एडिट करता हूँ. तो बहुत बार ये ऐसे होता है कि जैसे डायरेक्टर कट बोल देता है ना, एक्टर स्विचेस ऑफ. वो जो कैरेक्टर में जो प्ले कर रहा है वो स्विच ऑफ हो जाता है. और वो जब इमीडिएटली कट के बाद हो जाता है ना, तो वी डोंट हैव दैट मार्जिन टू प्ले. अगर मुझे लिंगर करना है, want to hold on to this thing, the character is broken out. So try and stay in the character as much as possible. Be very careful of how you blink. We don't realize. I mean, this is something that I have learned over the years, is that whenever we turn from side to side or character turn, there is always a blink. It's natural. It's how it happens. But those blinks affect when you can cut, right? Like if I want to cut and a character is blinking halfway, I will not cut. I will have to wait till he opens his eyes and turns a little, but maybe my cut point has changed at that point. So these are the small sort of nuances that I think an actor can keep in mind. More than that, it's also it's the interesting things that you can do when you are reacting. Right? Acting में आप line जैसे है जो भी आप बोल दोगे, but आप जब react कर रहे हो, it's most of the times my decisions to stay on a particular actor when he's listening is because of what he's done in the take. He's done it something, or he's manipulated what he's heard through his facial expression, which I'm like, Arey, this can tease the audience in this way. Maybe we can try this. So I feel कि reaction में जितना आप अपने nuances लाओगे, it's a lot of fun for an editor to cut. Like I'll give you अभी जिस फिल्म पे मैं काम कर रहा हूँ वेदा, उसमें एक बहुत ही phenomenal actor है जिसका नाम है अभिषेक बैनर्जी. और मुझे उनके सीन्स काटने में जो मतलब it has been one of the most enjoyable experiences of my career because the small nuances that he brings to the table like एक चीज वो करते रहते through the film is this और वो सेकेंड हाफ के फर्स्ट सीन में वो बाफ ले रहे बिकॉज उनको सर्दी थी तो वो फर्स्ट हाफ में पूरे टाइम वो ऐसे ऐसे करते रहते so that so there these small things that he does the way he plays with his eyes um it's just been an absolute joy to cut actors like that and it's just so the more mal that you give your editor the more fun he'll have and end में सब बोलेंगे कि वाह उसने क्या काम किया क्या एक्टिंग की उसने बट वो जब आप माल देते हो तभी वो शोकेस हो सकता है
Superb. Really, this is like we are going to make a small section out of it and put it out for all actors. So this is very helpful. Thank you, Prajwal. Thank you, Milind, for your questions. This is going to help all other actors. Thank you. Next question is by Jiten. Jiten का question है. Okay, you want me to unmute you? Okay, yes, Jiten, go ahead, unmute it. Yes. He has a question which is very similar to your life. Mahir, he wants to drop out.
okay
Hello, hello. Good
hi
afternoon, sir.
Jiten. Good afternoon please don't call me sir
Sir, actually, so sorry.
नहीं बोलो बोलो
So,
मजाक कर रहा हूँ
so abhi currently I am planning to drop out from my college and I haven't even completed my graduation. So ये मेरे लिए एक obstacle बनेगा कि like as in मेरे को best film editor बनना है and तो ये मेरे लिए एक obstacle बन सकता है कि मैं बिना इसके भी grow कर सकता हूँ like
हाय तो जितिन आई होप आप वन डे बेस्ट एडिटर बन जाओ उससे पहले आप ये जो ऑब्स्टिकल्स की बात कर रहे हो जितना मेरा मानना है इट डज नॉट आपके लिए ऑब्स्टिकल नहीं बनेगा मेरी माँ हमेशा कहती है कि तुम ग्रेजुएट कर लो ताकि तुम्हें जब अगर जेल भी जाओगे तो तुम्हें अलग सेल दिया जाएगा वरना तुम्हें जनरल सेल में तो वो एक एडवांटेज होगा अगर आप ये ऐसे कोई ख्वाब है बट नहीं यार आई डोंट थिंक एजुकेशन कोई भी एजुकेशन देखता है ऑफ कोर्स जो टेक्निकल फील्ड्स है जैसे एडिटिंग हो गया या साउंड डिजाइन हो गया या डीओ या सिनेमाटोग्राफी हो गई उसमें आप आई फील कि यस आपको हमेशा एक एडवांटेज रहेगा आपके पास अगर वो नॉलेज है बट बहुत टाइम्स क्या हो जाता है कि ना वो रूल्स समझ के कि ऐसे करने चाहिए ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए काफी टाइम्स हम एक बॉक्स में अटक जाते हैं तो उस बॉक्स से फिर हमें निकलने में काफी मुश्किलें वी हैव टू फेस तो फॉर मी क्योंकि मैंने बिल्कुल भी मेरा कोई फॉर्मल एजुकेशन नहीं हुआ है मेरे लिए वो बॉक्स एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता था तो क्यों एक्सट्रीम वाइड से एक्सट्रीम क्लोज में नहीं काटते मुझे नहीं पता था तो मैं करता था और कभी कभी वो वर्क किया जाता था और लॉट्स ऑफ टाइम्स इट वुड बी स्टूपिड एंड देन आई वुड बी लाइक अच्छा ऐसे सीखते हैं सो यू आई थिंक अंडरस्टैंड अलोंग द वे कि क्या करना चाहिए क्या नहीं करना चाहिए और ऑनेस्टली यार बात फील की है तो आप फीलिंग से करोगे तो वो आ जाएगा और आप ऑनेस्ट रहो अपने काम में तो स्टडीज विल नॉट आई डोंट थिंक ड्रॉपिंग आउट आपके लिए कोई ऑब्स्टिकल होगा सो उस हिसाब से आई डोंट थिंक आपको कोई टेंशन लेने की जरूरत है
Here, I really need you to pitch it that they should join the workshop. You have
हाँ
created.
सो ये करेक्ट हाँ तो मैं यहाँ पे एक मोमेंट लाऊंगा खुद की लाल करने के लिए तो प्लीज ये जो कोर्स आ रहा है सिन इन्फो के द्वारा प्लीज आप उसे ज्वाइन कीजिए और हम बेसिकली 4 दिन में सीखेंगे बातें करेंगे कोलैबोरेट करेंगे और होपफुली आप आपके लिए ये एक बेनिफिट होगा कि आपको शायद मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से कुछ सीखने को मिला क्योंकि मैं तो नहीं दीना ने जब मुझे बोला भी था कि आप आके कोर्स करो तो मैं तो 2 दिन हंस रहा था कि मैं कहाँ सिखाऊंगा यार लोगों को मैं तो खुद सीख रहा हूँ अभी बट आप आइए कोर्स में हम लोग बातें करेंगे सीखेंगे मस्ती करेंगे और हो जाएगा कुछ ना कुछ तो हो ही जाएगा
And this is one of the best way for you to come to the decision. ये एक
Yes.
situation है आपके लिए which will give you a very clear identification. I'm not selling the course. I'm telling you ये 4 दिन में आप शुरू से लेके अंत तक कुछ ना कुछ बनाएंगे तो आपके लिए ये एक टेस्टिमेंट होगा कि हाँ मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ वहां तक पहुंचना बहुत जरूरी है. So please definitely join and I know Mahir and he's self-taught. So आप जिस रास्ते पे चलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, Maahir has aced it. So you will be able to understand better. Yeah. Thank you so much for your question, Jiten.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have everybody's question I'm going to take. आप लोग please ऐसे मत करिए. मैं question chat पे हूँ, one by one जा रही हूँ. तो please ना सोचे नहीं ले रही हूँ. मैं सबके questions ले रही हूँ. The next question is from Vatsal Doshi. Vatsal, your question is not out there. I have a question I can see. And about the course I've already put up in terms of the details. I'm going to skip. Vatsal, don't mind. If there's a question at the bottom, I will come to it. The next question, Kedar again. Question. Kedar has put out a question. I'll put out Kedar again. Sorry, I think. Okay, Kedar, the question is short division written on paper and the shots taken are completely different. Sometimes claps are also not used in the newly used shots. How do you manage? Wow, how do you manage such circumstances? Yes, over to you.
I would love to send this question off to my associates Sachin and Sagar, but they are the ones who have to deal with this madness of no clap, no. But एक क्या होता है, एक कंटिन्यूटी शीट होती है सेट पे, जो कंटिन्यूटी सुपरवाइजर होता है, वो मार्क करते रहता है टेक नंबर, शॉट नंबर, कौन सा ओके टेक है, ये ओके टेक क्यों है, डायरेक्टर को ये टेक क्यों पसंद आया, ये भी ऑल्टरनेट ओके टेक हो सकती है. तो पहले ऑफ कोर्स क्लैप नहीं होने से बहुत दिक्कतें होती थी, अभी भी होती है. सो इट इज ऑलवेज अ रिक्वेस्ट, आई ऑलवेज टेल द एडीज कि यार प्लीज अगर एंड क्लैप हो तो एंड क्लैप दे दो. बट इफ यू हैव अ स्ट्रांग इनफ टीम, these are just small speed bumps that you have to go through. It's not really that big a deal.
Okay, Kedar, you want to ask something?
No. The questions have answered. So yeah.
Thank you, Kedar.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so Vatsal's questions I found. Thank you, Vatsal, for sending your question again. Vatsal ka question hai, how do you cut a scene? Do you use a multi-cam sequence?
No, I don't use multi. Hi, thank you, Vatsal, for your question. I don't use multicam. So multicam editing, I think, it's a great feature. But wo main, if I've ever had to cut a live show, like in the middle, I was doing some work for Veerdas for his stand-up shows, and he also has a band called Alien Chutney or whatever. So there is somewhere that multicam editing was very helpful. When it comes to feature films or long format, the way it works is we usually line up, if it's multicam, we line up takes above each other. So this is cam A, cam B, and if there's a cam C, and then you just enable, disable, and you see what you need to. Where it does get a little chaotic is song shoots. Some song shoots are my favorite things to edit. Like I have a blast editing songs. एंड उसमें हमारे जो टाइमलाइंस है वो 40-50 लेयर्स के हो जाते हैं, बिकॉज एक मुखड़े के लिए या एक अंतरे के लिए उन लोग ने कितने सारे शॉट्स है. सो दोस शॉट्स नीड टू बी एज पर बीट पुट ओवर देयर. सो देन टर्निंग दोस ऑन ऑफ एंड एवरीथिंग मेक्स cutting songs very easy, and I'm sure that is something wherein multicam editing could be used, but मैंने उसमें experiment नहीं किया है.
By the way, I don't know if you have recognized me or not. I have been texting.
Yes, I have understood. Yeah, I know. I am very sorry, Vatsal. यार मेरी शादी हो रही है.
Yeah, no problem.
But yes.
Vatsal, if you're looking for solo time, solo learning, this is the opportunity for you to join his workshop.
Sure. I'm joining in the workshop. That is not a.
Yeah, I know, Vatsal. हमारी मुलाकात अभी पेंडिंग है. मैं भूला नहीं हूँ. Don't worry, आपके मैसेजेस मैं देख रहा हूँ. But it's just कि बहुत बिजी था मैं लास्ट 2-3 महीने से. जैसे ही
this is the 4 days you're giving dedicated, where Vatsal will have you, as part of the session. So Vatsal, not a in person भी आपको 1 घंटा मिलेगा इनके साथ. But आपको 5 दिन मिलेंगे और end में आप project complete करेंगे through.
Sure.
Yes.
I just had this last question. So yes, how do you, when you cut a scene, after that, when you look at all the takes and everything, so how do you organize that in the timeline? Because वो non-linear pattern में shoot होता है ना. So because I'm cutting a feature right now, so I don't know how to do that.
So what I found the best way, और जो वो same चीज मैं अपने associates को भी कहता हूँ कि जो scene का progression है, like supposing ये scene ये हॉल में चालू होता है, हॉल में बातें कर करके हम लोग सीढ़ी से नीचे जाते हैं और फिर गाड़ी में जाके बैठते हैं, जहां से हम लोग बाहर जाते हैं और एक्सीडेंट होती है। अगर ये पूरा सीक्वेंस है तो जो टेक्स है, श्योर दे आर शॉर्ट नॉन लीनियर, मे बी ओवर 4-5 days, बट वो टेक्स में जब वो टाइमलाइन खोलू बिंच से, तो द टेक्स शुड बी इन दैट ऑर्डर। पहले सारे हॉल के टेक्स में जो भी एज पर लाइन्स, फिर बाहर निकलने के टेक्स, फिर नीचे जाने के टेक्स, फिर गाड़ी में बैठने के टेक्स, फिर एक्सीडेंट के टेक्स। सो मैं जब अगर मैं सीन में यहाँ पे हूँ, देन आई नो कि यहाँ पे मेरे यहाँ पे इज वेयर ऑल माय फुटेजेस। इट्स नॉट कि मैं यहाँ देख रहा हूँ, यहाँ देख रहा हूँ, यहाँ देख रहा हूँ, वो बहुत कंफ्यूजिंग हो जाता है। तो आज आप जितना उसे लीनियर रखने की कोशिश करोगे ना अपने आपके फुटेज को, वो आपके एडिट में बहुत काम आएगा, बिकॉज यू आर कॉन्स्टेंटली विल हैव टू गो बैक फोर्थ। अरे ये टेक में से ये इशू हो रहा है, शायद दूसरा टेक देखते, तो वो फिर ढूंढने में बहुत आपकी मदद होगी अगर आप उसे लीनियर रखो।
Okay, Vatsal, I'll have to close the questions here. I have 11 more, and we're already almost, yeah, 1 hour 45 minutes. But thank you for the question, Vatsal.
Thank you, Vatsal.
Inam has a question. Inam's question is: I am working on a sci-fi project, and
cool.
Storyteller here. It is sitting on a rough cut. How do I go about VFX and audio?
I'm assuming, first of all, hello. I'm assuming if this is something that you're doing solo, wherein you are having to take care of VFX, you are having to take care of final sound. I'm not talking about temp, but अगर वो आपको करना है तो, well, you need to know After Effects, you need to know Pro Tools, you need to know these softwares to be able to give that. What a non-linear editing software allows you to do is temporarily put in whatever you need to. So you can temporarily do your VFX. Like we temporarily key in stuff. If there are plates shot for a sequence that is shot in a studio, we key in all of those things. So ideally, it is when it is outsourced to a specialist, like a visual effects supervisor or a sound designer. They should be the ones who would be finalizing it. But of course, if it's a solo one-man show type of a situation, then the software has the capabilities for you to be able to put out a polished product. And then it just depends upon what your needs are. Agar aapko, what is the impact or effect that you are trying to create for your film? So then how does Premiere or FCP allow you to do that?
Thank you so much. And Premiere is the tool that I went for. And number two, all the things that you expressed about how you go about the editing are the exact beats that I discovered myself. So thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Superb. Thank you, Inam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inam. Moving to the next question, I will come back to questions which have my first question सबके ले लेती हूँ. I'll come back to second questions, don't mind. मेहताब, आपका मैंने क्वेश्चन चैट पे आंसर कर दिया है. Is there anything that you want to ask specifically? Then I will put out, but I don't see a question, so sorry, I will have to skip. क्वेश्चन मैंने चैट पे आंसर कर दिया मेहताब. So we have Sharda. Sharda's question is: any advice for screenwriters, Maahir ji? Sharda's screen video is not working, so she is unable to.
Thank you. Hi Sharda, thank you very much. पहले my first advice would be please मुझे माहिर जी ना कहिए. जब मैं 15 साल के बाद वापस आ जाऊंगा सिन इन्फो पे भाषण देने, तब आप प्लीज मुझे माहिर जी बोलिए. But excuse me. Sorry, could you just read her question out again? I would like to.
Tips for screenwriters. So, what advice would you have for screenwriters?
Yes. So honestly, what I would say is when you are writing a story, when you are drafting out your story, again, because one of my best friends is a writer, so I have learned a lot of the technical jargon when it comes to writing from her, whether it's character arcs or beat sheets and all of that. But when you are writing or constructing your narrative, be very mindful when you end a scene and when you're going into a new scene. What is the emotion you've left with? Have you left with anger and then are you going into comedy? Have you left with emotion and are you going into action? So your scene transitions, also what we spoke about earlier, comes from emotional transitions. Emotionally, where are you in this scene? And what are you leaving this scene with? And will that organically translate into the next scene? Because most of the times when we are having to rewrite on the edit table, it's because the emotion from one scene to the other is not matching. And when that doesn't match, the story doesn't seem cohesive. And when the story doesn't seem cohesive, then it doesn't land. So I think that has been one of the biggest learnings for me, is getting into a scene and getting out of a scene. What are you coming in with? What are you leaving with? And does that allow you to transition naturally into your next scene?
Okay, great. That is actually very helpful. Thank you, Shraddha, for the question. I'm going to now circle back. Just last two questions. The other questions I'm not taking up because Maahir, you already answered them. So it's a repeat ho jayega.
Yes.
I'm going to take up two questions. I'm announcing the last two questions. And sorry if I have not taken up a question because recording dekh lijiyega, wo usme sab hai answers. Abhay and Inam, Abhay and Saif, आप दोनों के last जो questions है आपने कहा please take my last question, so I'm circling back to your last questions. Abhay, coming to your question, so it was what are the qualities as a person and as a filmmaker you would like to have in the director you're working with? Good question.
Okay, that's a lovely question. So I think the most important quality that I look for is whether the director respects my space and my process, because every editor, every technician, I think, has their own process. And if you have the space to experiment in your processes without somebody being overbearing, I think that's when the best work comes out. Like if I take Nikhil sir's example, for him it's always Maahir magic कर लेगा, उसको छोड़ दो. With Milap, it's like नहीं यार, वो जॉन का एक्सप्रेशन थोड़ा और लंबा हो सकता था. It's about, you're not understanding. It's about the punch. It's about जब वो टायर फटता है, ऐसा तुम नहीं समझते हो. So when you have the space and the respect from your director, I think that's where the best work happens. A lot of times you will also, of course, come across directors जो organic नहीं होते, बहुत mechanical होते हैं कि ओके ये लाइन को इस टेक से लो, ये लाइन को इस टेक से लो, ये लाइन से इस टेक से लो. तो वो देन आई स्टार्ट फीलिंग लाइक एन असिस्टेंट एडिटर कि ठीक है ना, तो मैं ऑपरेटर हूँ, तो मेरी क्रिएटिविटी की कोई मतलब देयर इज नो नीड फॉर माय क्रिएटिविटी. दोस आर द प्लेसेस आई फील आई डोंट थ्राइव. आई एम श्योर देयर आर पीपल हु थ्राइव इन दोस सिचुएशन. मेरे से नहीं होता है. मुझे जब आप स्पेस देते हो और वो भी एक्सपेरिमेंट करने के लिए, तो मुझे आई फील बेस्ट कोलैबोरेशंस हैपन देयर. And just don't be afraid to fail, because 8 out of 10 times आप अपने मुंह पे गिरोगे, but वो 2 बार जब आप नहीं गिरोगे ना, तो तब लोग बात करेंगे.
Right. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Question. The next question is by Saif. Saif, I said I have not asked your last question. Saif, आप अपना last question I think is was on color. How to approach color. I'm just looking for the question. I can't find your question, Saif. Last 2 questions आपके हम पूछ चुके हैं. So just 1 second. I'm just scanning the chat all over again because there are more than 40 questions. Yes, I think it says how do you approach the process of editing a film from? No, we've asked this question. I think Saif, we've asked all your questions. अगर आप unmute करके पूछ सकते हैं तो पूछ लीजिए, because I can't find your question. Although Saif has written multiple times, you missed my question. I think the question, but sorry, Saif, I'm not able to find your question. If you can unmute and ask, please go ahead. Saif has written that I've also worked with Mitesh Soni in 3 feature films, and my brother was producer of these films. So that's the last I can see. And he requested if he can share his screen for a short film. मैंने बोला है कि it's difficult. Yeah, the question is, what is the process of balance and treat audio like cleaning? Treat audio, sorry. What is the process of balance and treating audio like cleaning? That's the last question.
Okay. So what I've noticed nowadays is, because a lot of films are shot in sync sound, the sound that comes to us is for 70% of the time very usable, but there are tools within the software that allow you to clean up noisy dialogues, to enhance vocals. So what happens is that it's very simple. When a dialogue track is, the cleaner it is, the more auditory space you have to play around with sound effects and music. If the scene's audio, the dialogue audio has a lot of noise, whether it's of the traffic or construction or just general noise, then you will not have the space to be able to manipulate that scene with using music and sound effects. So of course, you can, in extreme cases, we have the dialogues cleaned by the sound designer and sent back to us for the edit, even if it's for an actor's presentation or for director's presentation. So that one of the how do you say it? One of the things that you will learn in time is that offlines are very, very dirty. And offline is very dirty. It's very muddy. It's not clear a lot of the time. Most of the feedback in my screenings with producers have been like, यार वो line समझ में नहीं आ रही है क्योंकि वो इतना noise है. So वो एक part and parcel है when it's a film that's going to be dubbed. Like Milap loves. He doesn't like sync sound. He likes to shoot in. He like नहीं मैं dub में मेरा actor उसे और enhance करेगा, and that is full props to him because he manages to do that. But his pilot sounds are very dirty. Like SMJ 1-2 Marjawa had terrible sound. Like it was a pain to cut that because you couldn't understand anything. The emotions were being diluted. So I guess it's just a part and parcel. But you do have tools to be able to clean up, to be able to make things more audible, and that should help in comprehension.
Thank you so much for that, Maahir. That was the last question. And Saif has said, thanks so much. Love from Pakistan. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much, and love to Pakistan. What an awesome.
Thank you so much. We all do. We all do. And I would like to, we are getting a lot of people from Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, apart from.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Like really amazing to see the members from all over the entertainment industry globally interested in learning from professionals across India as well as other countries. So yes, I would like everyone to switch on your video for just 1 minute, because we'd like to say a nice big thank you to Maahir, and it'll be good. I will unmute all of you. So this is a great opportunity for you to say a nice thank you to. So please अपने videos on कर लीजिए if you're there. Doesn't matter आपके background में क्या है, हम judge नहीं कर रहे हैं. So good. Yes, everybody is there. Can you switch on your videos? I'm giving everybody some time. It's okay. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. कौन कहाँ है? Doesn't matter. Just switch on your videos. I'm going to give all of you like, come on. You can do this. Right. Great. So, okay. So all of you can unmute yourselves. आप लोग सब अभी unmute करके बोलना शुरू मत करिए. Just unmute yourselves. Switch on your video.
Thank you, Maahir.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Now all of you can say a big thank
आप
you.
बहुत देखे से लग रहे हो.
Thank you, Maahir.
Thank you so much,
I
sir.
wanted to ask one last question. For
Yes.
can you give me the 21st seat? And his mother.
Oh, wow.
अरे माँ
Thank you
आप
so
आपकी
much
पीछे
for-
आगे
Because I'll tell you.
किसी और की सीट ले रहे हो.
Nay, 21st. The 20 seats are full. Whatever,
Ah.
the 21st. Because
Absolutely.
I'm very interested in what he does. And when I ask him, he says, hey, ठीक है, चल गया. The amount I've learned today is just amazing, and I would love to join the course.
Yes, absolutely. Special seat definitely for you, ma'am.
But thank you, Maahir. Very informative.
Thank you guys, all of y'all, for coming out on a
Thank
Sunday.
you so much, Maahir. Thank
in
you.
these few
Thank you
hours
so
here.
much, Maahir.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. This was my first ever Gyan Ka Sagar. I've never done this before, and it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for coming. I hope I was able to answer your
Absolutely.
questions. I hope you guys were able to learn something, and I just hope you guys had fun.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for all the knowledge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maahir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maahir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. So now that all of us can mute ourselves. So thank you so much once again for this session and for joining. Thank you, Maahir, very much. With so
Thank
many people have actually had a brilliant opportunity to learn from you. Do not forget the session, the workshop, the course which Maahir will be doing is very in depth. आपको 4 दिन 2 से लेके 3 घंटे depending till everyone's assignment has been understood. Everybody has. It's a very in-depth online in-person class. Don't miss the opportunity. We cannot get professionals like Maahir free for such. हमें just to give you a timeline, हम last year October से माहिर को chase कर रहे हैं और आज जाके session हो पाया है.
I know. I'm
and
sorry.
भी काफी projects रहे. Yes.
मेरे प्रोजेक्ट भी और बीच में शादी भी हुई ना, तो वो उसके लिए भी टाइम ऑफ लेना.
Which is hearty congratulations for that. But
Thank you.
Congratulations.
yes, so it is important that take advantage of this this particular opportunity. Yes, it is a paid class, but every such opportunity is an investment, and we are happy that Maahir is helping us with this opportunity and time. And thank you once again, Maahir.
Yeah.
I can see that your dog has been very patient throughout
No,
this.
she was in the other room waiting for me. Now he's come running out.
Thank you. But wonderful session once again.
Yes.
Please join the community for free. If you have any questions for Maahir, please send it to us. हमारे community में, we will send you the answers. Thank you once again. Happy
Thank you.
Sunday to every one of you. Thank you, Maahir.
guys. Happy Sunday. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.